Hey everyone, it's John Harvey from CrashBay.com. I'm here today with Jeff Ketty. Jeff Ketty just recently joined our team here at CrashBay. He's our new COO. And welcome, Jeff, to the team, first of all.
Thanks, John. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. So we've got something special planned for all of our shop subscribers and anybody who is still thinking about joining CrashBay or where they can find value in CrashBay. We're opening up our learning platform actually to non-members, to anybody who has a shop who wants to find better ways to run their business. So part of our CrashBay subscriber services is our learning platform. And one of the things we're going to be going through today, just as a sampling, will be our Cashflow tool as an example of one of the things that we'll be covering through our learning and development platform. So without further ado, Jeff, can you take us into the Cashflow tool and we'll just start sharing our screen here. And then anybody who's watching us can follow along. And this will be something that we'll make available to folks who want to subscribe. So over to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, before I get into that, what we're really looking to do is create some tools and provide tools for shops, really driving profitability. So this is just one quick and easy one when we're talking about cash flow and collecting your AR. So this tool here gives us an idea of how fast you collect your AR. We've got some data behind it to know what best in class is. And the impact of collecting your AR quickly obviously impacts your cash flow. So I want to demonstrate what that means. So what we do in the example here, there's a calculation. You put in your sales for the time period, you put on your current AR, and what it does is it gives you, on average, how long it takes for you to collect your accounts receivable. So in this example, and these numbers are from an actual real shop, 49 days on average, how long it took them to collect their AR. So what does that mean as far as cash floating out there? So, we look down here, that's about 200, we've got $270,000 of cash floating out there. Best in class, and the best in class data is taken from a sample of shops as well, that these are shops in a franchise system. They have DRP, so we know there's a bit of a delay with DRP because we don't want to use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
Some best in class, that range between 35 and 40. I've seen as low as 32 days in the collection period. So in this example of 49 days, if we were able to get it down to 35 days, we get an extra $78,000 of cash floating out there.
Wow.
Even if we can get it down to 40 days, there's an extra $50,000 of cash. So what does that mean to me as an owner? Well, we look at a couple different impacts. So, how do we float that cash? Because if we're using extra cash just to float our AR, then it means we're not using it for something else. So it's either paying down debt, reinvesting in the business. So I wanted to look at the impact of, if we had that cash in our pocket, what could we do? So there's two kind of key areas to look at right away is early payment discounts with suppliers. So if I had that extra cash, what would that mean to me if I can get 2% discount on parts purchases, for example? So when we break down the average makeup of a claim, so $2 million in sales, 40% of that's parts, that's about 800,000. Parts margin on average around 27%. So the average parts purchases for $2 million in sales would be approximately $584,000. So if I can get a 2% discount on parts on that equates to $11,000. Now, not every one of my suppliers is going to give me a discount on parts. So in this example, I use, say, half of them. So that's $5,800 you're saving. When we're talking about net profit, and we want to move from 6% to 7% net profit, or even 10 to 11, we're trying to, our margins are tight in this industry. We're trying to get like 0.5% here, 0.5% there. Just this alone is almost 1/3% of net profit contributed to your bottom line. So now we look at the impact of the line of credit. So if I've got to float $50,000 extra on a line of credit, what does that mean to me? Well, if I've got a line of credit at a nice 5% interest rate, that's an extra $2,500 a year. That's another 0.13% of net. So when we're talking about the total contribution on this example here, we're talking about almost 0.5% of net. So it's about finding the money with things that you already have. We always want to increase sales, but we know things are tougher in this industry. But with the sales that we do have, how do we drive more profitability, especially when margins are being shrunk and more responsibilities being pushed down to us from insurers and stuff. So
Yeah.
Very simple tool. And, what's key to us is following up. Well, how do I fix that?
Yeah.
I think the difference between what we're going to be doing at Crash Bay is coaching shops on, okay, we've diagnosed an issue or a challenge,
Hmm.
but then I need some help on fixing that. How do I go from 49 days down to 35 days?
Right. Right.
There's some simple things that we can talk about how to address that and how to go about improving that number.
Cool. So Jeff, I just want to pause here for a second and just say a few things before we keep going. What really is powerful here for me, that stands out, and I hope our audience sees this, is we're not just talking about percentages. There's an old saying, you don't bring percentages to the bank, you bring cash to the bank. And especially in a time like this, cash is king now more than ever. And a lot of businesses, small businesses, are leveraging their lines of credit, and some are maxed out. Obviously, sales are down. So getting cash that is floating out there is so important. And this illustration demonstrates actual dollars that you can bring back into the business that are owed to the business that are sitting out there. And this could make the difference for a shop during tough times, or even just during normal times of making payroll, or bringing on another staff member, or paying for an expense that's outstanding, buying a piece of equipment. I really like how it identifies the dollars, and this is a very realistic example based on the average size of a shop in North America. So
Yeah, I mean, the data that we've used is basically from shops that I worked with in the past. So we've looked at a good sample size of data to come up with the numbers. And I mean, and the case study behind this is the success story of one shop that we worked with. They were at 42 days, and in $3 million in sales, and they were able to get that down to close to 33 days. So they're able to recapture, and the way they did that was simply assigning someone to collect the money. So that, there's a lack of roles and responsibilities within the business. So it wasn't 100% clear who was supposed to chase and how often and how frequent the phone calls, and when do I escalate it to management that I'm not getting payment on this file, those things. So it was just about like setting up clear rules and responsibilities. There was
yeah,
zero investment. It was just
yeah.
a matter of doing something and chasing your money. Go get paid.
Yeah, so that's the piece here. And I think we need to pause on that point for a second. And there's so many tools out there, and often shops, or just any small business really, but we know from this industry, will go to conferences, seminars, 20 groups, and they'll get introduced to all these various tools, and you can Google them and et cetera. But I think where we really want to differentiate ourselves is we're not only going to introduce you to tools like this, as part of being a Crash Bay member or subscriber, or just taking one of our courses, but we're going to introduce you to the practical side as well, how to implement these in your business. That's the really important part. So as far as tips for implementing these, you already mentioned one, just assigning it to someone and making it that their duty to go out there and collect the AR, and get everything, set a goal is probably
Yep.
another one, right?
Yep.
An internal goal. Would
Yep.
you say, like if I'm a shop that's at 100 days AR on average, should I be setting a goal for 35 right off the bat?
No, I mean, you want to get better, right? So anytime you measure performance, you're measuring the trend in increments. So are you going to flip it in day one? No, but if we can work our way down, and we can pick the time period that we want, but we want to look at the trend. Am I getting better? Or am I getting worse? Right?
Yeah.
So because if we just look at the snapshot in time to say, hey, today it's 100 days, but we don't know, maybe it was 150, 140, maybe we're actually trending in the right direction. But if it was 46, 65, and we're trending upwards, we want to understand the trend, and that's the key to. In another, we talk about ways to fix it and fix the problem, right? So you're not going to turn it into 35 days in the first month. The other part of how do I make this work, or how do I implement that, is that file closing procedure. How quickly do you close files? I work with shops that have this so buttoned up that 95% of the time that file is closed within 48 hours of the car leaving the shop. So they don't have cash flow issues because they're getting paid. Their supplements are done while the car is still in the shop. They're getting that stuff done ahead of time. We have that we wait till the end of the month to close files, and it's like, well, I
Yeah.
don't have time to do it today. Well, the thing is, but you have time to do it later. It's the
Yeah.
same amount of time. We're just choosing to do it later. So we need to find a way to work that system into our day to day,
Yes.
and leverage our other staff too. We've got admin staff that are underutilized. We've
Yep.
got, estimators that are, overutilized or doing admin work that they,
Especially now.
exactly. So if we can kind of, focus on that, that's another
Yeah.
way to make a difference in your AR.
That's actually that's near and dear to my heart, because that's a lean workflow that you just described there. And what a lot of businesses do is they batch and queue. So they batch all the ROs to the end
Yeah.
of the month, and then they do their
Yeah.
closing process, right? And then
Yeah.
you actually create a bottleneck in your business when you do that, as opposed to closing the files as you go. Then you don't have that bottleneck at the end of the month. So to wrap up here, Jeff, if I can wrap up, or did you want?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. To wrap up here, there's 3 things that we talked about today to help you implement this tool in your business. So number 1 is to assign somebody to actually have responsibility for AR, and to go out and to look at any money that's outstanding and to help to close that off and get that back into the business. That's money that should be in your pocket. And you illustrated, how that impacts cash, how that impacts contribution margin. Number 2 is closing process. Have a closing process, and don't wait till the end of the month to do it. Close the file right there when you deliver the car, or within 24 hours of delivering the car and handing the keys back to the customer. And then the third thing is set a target. If you're a business and you're struggling with AR, and that's okay, you got to start somewhere. Start with incremental improvements. You don't have to hit home runs out of the park right away. Set a small goal, quick wins. If I'm at 100 days today, try to get it under 90. And then once you achieve that, celebrate that with your staff, and then try to get it under maybe 75. And then keep going until you can get as close as possible to getting your AR under 30 days. And perhaps, this will be extra work, maybe extra hours if you're a small shop and you're a 1 or 2 person show. But once you get it down to 30 days, maybe you've just created enough room to hire a part-time bookkeeper to go out and chase that for you on a regular basis to keep that number under 30. So it's all about not just tools, shiny objects, but how to implement them in your business. If this sounds interesting to everybody out there, if you want to learn more, we got lots more great stuff like this that we're going to be introducing in our 3P estimating course, which is available for sign up now. You can go to the marketplace section at crashbay.com, and there is a subscribe button to sign up. Please send in your information. We're compiling a list. We'll be delivering the 3P estimating course in cohorts. This is group training with individual coaching integrated within, and we'll be doing these in cohorts throughout 2021. And Jeff will be part of the delivery team, as well as myself and some other coaches that we have working with us here on the Crashbay team. Really excited to have you on board, Jeff. This was a fantastic illustration. Any closing thoughts from you?
No, I'm just really excited to get this out to the shops and have tools that can actually help them get better, and ones that focus on profitability.
Awesome. Okay, guys, check it out, crashbay.com, our marketplace section to sign up. And for those who do register, we'll send you a copy of the tool, and then we'll actually show you how to use it within the course. Looking forward to seeing you there.